Well, joining us now is retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis to talk Afghanistan as well as Sudan. Colonel Davis served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan. Colonel, we thank you so much for your time here. Let's start with Sudan. If you could maybe walk us through this Navy SEAL operation. It evacuated dozens of Americans out of Sudan, but what went into planning it in such a dangerous area? What do we know about the dangers that those military personnel and civilians may have faced?
Yeah, this is something that's one of their core competencies in the United States military, not just SEAL Team 6, but a number of others, constantly plan for what they call a non-combatant evacuation, a NEO. So they're prepared to do this in virtually every place we have a diplomatic engagement. So what they would do, and what they certainly did in this case, was they dusted off those plans when they saw things starting to deteriorate. And then they executed, and they're very, very good at doing these kinds of things because they practice it all the time. And I think that's the fact that they got them out so fast. And we're talking about almost 100 people. That was a pretty impressive operation.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly no easy feat. It does seem interesting, Colonel. The U.S. was first to evacuate its diplomats, then the U.K., then France, Italy, then more started evacuations as well. Those countries are some of our closest allies. So were they not aware that the U.S. was evacuating until after it had happened? And is that normal?
Yeah, a couple things at play here. Number one, obviously the United States is pretty much a global leader, certainly among the West, and they're watching to see what we do. It's pretty unlikely that they would go first if they thought that we were still there. But another thing that probably was probably part of the issue is that the United States is very careful on operational security. And we, in these kinds of cases, very often won't tell even our close allies that we're going to go in to take care of our people before it happens, in order not to have any kind of communications intercepted or anything else that could add to the risk to our people. And I bet probably both of those were the case, but I'm sure that we were on the phone with them, very early on once the operation started, to let everybody else know what we're doing.
All right, let's talk about another country here, Russia. This notorious Wagner group. There's this new report alleging this Wagner group is helping, which is helping wage, of course, the war in Ukraine, is now also trying to arm these Sudanese rebels. So talk to us, what does Russia have to gain? And how concerned should the U.S. be that they are now apparently getting involved in this situation in Sudan?
Yeah, this is not new. I mean, the Wagner Group in particular has been active in Africa for quite a number of years, actually. But it's on a very small scale. And if they're taking any action now, it's almost certainly to try to exploit a situation for their gain, to give themselves more influence in the area, particularly depending on how this thing goes. And if they think that we're on the side of the government of Sudan, I can certainly imagine they would be keen to try to help the other side to complicate our situation there. But in terms of the overall scale and the strategic significance, it's probably pretty small and not anything that I think is really going to concern us too much. There's lots of armed trafficking going on throughout Africa.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.